recording? Yes, we are. Okay, and welcome back. So now we start episode 3 of Star Trek Next Frontier, and we are going to open the scene. So let's go, let me go at the very least, to roll 20, just to have one little scene here. All right, we are going to open this scene and roll 20 before the credits come up. And we are in sick bay. Sick bay, we have Dr. Ardun in his office, as always. And we have Mark, the EMH, who is never turned off. And we have, of course, Lieutenant Shamvos Thadagia, doing work in there as a medic. Shamvos, what do you think you're working on at this time here, early in the day?
I think about this time I'd probably be going over just the daily crew medical roster, Nothing out of the ordinary, just checking up on basically the daily medical checkup on it.
Okay, you're doing all the medical checks for the day's starting shift, and you hear the doors open on. Let's see here, trying to remember things here. You hear the doors open on the med bay, and coming in. Well, do we have it? That's here. There we are. Look at that. Just trying to remember use Sirenscape this time. Everyone hear the door open? Yeah. Everyone's going to have to do more than nod because I'm not allowed to look at Zoom while I'm trying to operate all this. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, good. It's working still. Good. All right, so doors open and the captain comes in. And Shamvos, you know for a fact that the captain comes in quite frequently. At least once a day, always first thing in the morning like now, and she always has a private meeting with Dr. Ardun, and he typically by this point asks you to go about your duties and to leave the med bay and to do your rounds, as it were, for any of the patients who may be recovering from something back in their quarters. And today is no different. Captain comes in as usual, comes into the doctor's office, but you're in the side chamber. You're in the side chamber there going through the medical files, and Dr. Ardun does not step out to say anything to you right now. But you hear them discussing an issue that sounds like a personal issue that the captain has, but you can't hear exactly what it is. Now you have a choice that you could try to listen in. You could go about your business, or you could, of course, excuse yourself, as you know the doctor normally asks you to do.
I'm pretty much just going to go about my business.
Okay. So you sit there and you keep doing all your data work. You're trying to just get through all your paperwork, and you hear the two of them go into the main chamber of the sick bay, and that's when you start hearing like scans starting to be performed in the other room. So you definitely can't hear what's going on, but it sounds like doctor's doing another kind of checkup on the captain, which again happens quite frequently, as far as you know.
Well, hearing this, I'm just going to walk in casually, as it is part of my, regular checkup, just to go about my business there, and I'm going to walk into the main chamber.
Okay. As you step into the chamber, that's when you see the captain is on one of the beds, and Dr. Ardun is performing some scans with Mark, the EMH, operating the controls at the bottom of the bed. When you step in, the captain immediately notices you and sits up on the bed, causing Mark and the doctor to step away. And Dr. Arden, as usual, is getting flustered, as he would in every single situation. And he comes rushing up to you. Lieutenant, wait, why are you here? What are you doing? Don't you have things to do? We're very busy here this morning.
I believe I am doing my duties. Do you require any assistance at this moment?
He's just stammering away. Captain looks over at you. Lieutenant, good morning.
Captain.
Is everything okay, Lieutenant?
Yes, everything is fine. Shh. Is there something I should be...
She regards you for a moment like, no, Lieutenant, and I must apologize that normally I ask for private consultations with Dr. Arden, and I know that you are typically excused from these sessions. I hope it's not too much of an inconvenience to ask you to please give us some privacy.
Absolutely, Captain.
Doctor rushing up to you. Just go check on Lieutenant Anders. See what he's up to.
My apologies, Captain.
Okay. And then you'll take your cue and excuse yourself from the sick bay. Okay. Meanwhile, let's get onto the bridge here. Let's get back onto the bridge here. Okay. Captain's out. We're going to put her there. So, not Lieutenant, I apologize. Commander Lulk, you are in command of the bridge currently while the captain is out. You're still continuing your very early shift. So far, everything is going as expected. But let's see here. David,
Yep.
Lieutenant Drake, you get a beeping on your console there, on your tactical console. So just to try get some momentum going on here, let's do our first roll of the day and try get yourself a little bit of power here. Now, the issue is with the DeGrasse Tyson right now is the area of the Shackleton Expanse that you're in now is becoming some of the more tumultuous area that you have heard about of the Expanse, where there's a lot of anomalies, there's a lot of distortions here. So there's a lot of problems with sensor interference. But again, as you know, the DeGrasse Tyson has the advanced sensor suite, so it's able to cut through a lot of it, but not all. So instead of this being a difficulty 0 task, this is going to be a difficulty 1 task right now, okay?
Okay.
Perfect time for a pilot to be out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, pilot and our chief science officer as well, who needs to cut their own stuff. But that's okay. You'll be fine, right? Right. Okay. So David, just do a it's going to be a regular control plus I would say security, because you're scanning these security sensor feeds.
Cool. I've also got focused use because of my shipboard tactical systems.
There you go.
Complication 1, task roll 2.
Complication 1, task roll 2. And Perry, we're going to let you do the roll here for the ship. So please open up the DeGrasse Tyson's character sheet, or starship sheet, as it were.
All right, got it open.
All right, and you are going to be doing a sensors, so click sensors. And for this one, it's just regular sensors, but David's using it on his tactical, so that's why he has security, but you're going to have science. So sensors and science, please.
Sensors and science, okay.
So you'll click on the science. And then focus used is yes. It's probably already on yes. Complication is 1. Starship task roll is also 1. And then when both of you are ready, you can click that delta and try doing your roll. I think David already did the roll, correct?
Yeah, he did.
Okay, so you could do the
Okay, I
ship
just
as well.
clicked it as well.
Okay, there you go. So, all right. It was a difficulty of 1. You got 2 successes out of both of you, which means you've gained your first point of momentum to bank. Keep it there. David, what you see on the sensors, and I will just whisper it to you because, let's see. Oh, wait a second. Hang on. I think that might be you for a second there. Hang on, since your name is Lieutenant Frank Drake, I think it's reading you as LT period as your name. Let me just see if you get that. No, that went to Thishran. So let's see where the hell David is here. Okay. No. Oh, that might be you. That might be you. Hang on a second. Here we go.
I've just noticed there's 2 Frank Drakes in this, but okay. Howdy.
Oh, okay. So you got it. All right. So I'm just going to send you the stuff on the whisper to you, just instead of saying it and then you repeat it. Okay, there we go. Just trying that out.
Commander, I'm detecting a Klingon vessel incoming.
Oh, are you sure about that?
According to the sensors, yes, sir.
Oh. Can you tell what size ship is it?
Can I tell what size?
This again, Perry, this would be a time when you're trying to get more information out of a sensor reading or that. You can spend points of momentum to ask more questions to try to get more information. That's one of the main uses of momentum, and it should be used a lot. In this case, since you only generate 1 point of momentum, instead of having you spend it for a question this simple, I'll just tell you it's a smaller scout size ship.
Scout vessel, sir.
Can you open a hail frequency with it?
I will try, sir.
Okay.
Do I need to roll?
No, you don't have to roll for that. You make your roll, and there's no response.
They seem to be ignoring us, sir.
Can you please open an open channel hail frequency so we can broadcast to them?
Right away, sir.
Okay, it's open.
Greetings, fellow Klingons. I am Commander Lok of the USS DEGRASSE TYSON. We are a Federation science ship on a mission of exploration and discovery. We would welcome an exchange of knowledge and do hope that you would start a dialogue.
Okay. You broadcast, but still there's no response.
Continue the broadcast.
Okay.
Again, this is a Federation science vessel. If you are in any need of assistance, please give some sort of signal. We are happy to help. Are you in distress?
Again, no response. And again, I'll remind you, you still have your momentum if you want to try looking at your sensor readings for specific information.
I wouldn't mind checking for.
Okay, so spend the momentum for life signs.
Yeah, see if there's anyone actually on the ship.
Okay. Scanning as the ship's getting closer, yes, you're detecting life signs aboard. You're detecting probably between 1 and 2 dozen life signs aboard.
Are they Klingon, or can I not tell?
I would say that you would be able to tell with the life signs they were Klingon, yeah.
Are they heading directly for us or just kind of in our general direction?
Directly.
Commander, at this point, I want to recommend putting shields up.
Have we detected any of their weapon systems online?
You would have to scan for that. You would have to use, again, that could be another momentum thing, but you already spent your momentum. So if you want to do a separate tactical scan now, you could do that, David.
Yep, can do.
And Perry, why don't you make that roll again to support David on this?
It's like my best roll ever as well.
Yeah, really, I know. My goodness. It's always perception. With, same one as before. That'll be fine, yeah. Okay, but that's still good. We still have 4 successes total, which is 3 extra momentum generated. Okay, you're scanning specifically for the weapon systems, and you're seeing that their weapons are powered down and their shields are also down.
Weapons and shields are down, sir. Perhaps they're having issues with their communication systems.
In that case, keep ours down too. We do not want to. It is very easy to threaten Klingons unintentionally.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So,
continue rebroadcasting my previous broadcast, and keep all channels open.
Yes, sir.
Okay, by the time the Klingons get into a very close range, that's when the vessel cuts, excuse me, cuts the engines. And finally, you start to get a communication signal from them.
Put them on the main view screen.
Yes, sir.
Okay. On the main view screen, let's see what's happening here. Okay, a Klingon commander appears on the main view screen. Like, Federation vessel, I am General Koldor.
Greetings. I am Commander Locke of the USS DEGRASSE TYSON. Are you in need of any assistance?
He stares at you. I thought I heard the name Locke when you broadcast the message. Unfortunately, our communications have taken a bit of a scramble from this area of the Shackleton Expanse. We aren't able to use any more than close-range communicating services. But now I can see why your vessel did not raise shields. It's commanded by a Klingon. Ha ha ha.
We are a scientific mission. Our goal is not battle.
Oh, as are we. We are merely explorers for the Empire. I wondered why a Federation vessel would not be afraid of a Klingon approaching. Now I know. We are on our way back to Narendra Station for repairs. I must warn you, Commander, there are lots of dangerous phenomenon this way ahead. But I think I might have found something that you would be interested in.
You have certainly piqued my interest, and I'm sure my crew share the same intent.
We discovered a small vessel adrift in one of the gravimetric disturbances not far from here. It appears it would fit in with your Federation desires of seeking out new life and new civilizations. Had we not taken so much damage, we might have stuck around further, but to be honest, Commander, it really wasn't of much interest to us.
What caused the damage to your ship?
Oh, it's the spatial disturbances here. You have to watch out for the gravimetric eddies that appear. They could suck your ship right inside and just wreak havoc with everything from the structure down to the computer itself.
Obviously, it is no match for a Klingon ship.
Not one under the command of Koldor, I can assure you.
Well, then I believe that we shall try our hand against these gravimetric wells.
I wish you luck, Commander.
Were you able to make any contact with this life?
We attempted to board the vessel, but again, with the damage that we took, it wasn't worth it for us to stick around much longer. So now that we found Federation, we can easily pass it off to you and allow you to do what you do best while we go and resupply and repair so we can do what we do best.
Well, we are in your debt. We greatly appreciate the information. If you could, please transmit any locational data that you might still have.
Understood. Success, Commander.
Live long and prosper.
And screenshot, and he sends you the data that you need, and that's when we'll get the opening credits for this TV show going in. Okay, so let's just
It was the closing credits for one of our crew.
What's that?
I said it seems it was the closing credits for one of our crew.
Uh-oh, did we lose someone? Again,
I think we lost.
Yeah, I can't. I'm not able to minimize Zoom while I'm doing this because with the recording going, so I just have to keep windows stacked on top of it, so I can't see. Maybe Gene was just scared of the Klingons as he often is. So let's see here.
Oh, he's back in.
Is he? Prove it. Okay, there we go. Gene, everything okay? Lieutenant, where are you? Speaking of which, let's see. Change his name. Let's see. Gene, can you hear us? Lieutenant Shanvos.
I can, but I'm having some interference, it seems. I'm not sure what's going on my end here.
Okay.
So I will try to maintain contact for as long as I can.
Yeah, please do. Oh my God. Yeah, well, I warned you. There's all those spatial disturbances and gravimetric eddies here, so you gotta watch out for that stuff. It's going to interfere with everything. All right. Well, then let's rush ahead here. So, hang on, going back to the screen. And I get very lost when I have to go back to Zoom, so I never get to watch it. Please let me know if somebody else disappears, okay? All right. So let's see, we'll get the captain back on the bridge. Everything will be informed. We don't have our pilot here, so I'm not going to worry about doing the piloting roles to get to this place. But we're changing the scene here, so that burns off one of the momentum. Your pull is down at 2. And we're going to let me set up the page for you if you don't mind. There we go. And still getting the hang of this. There we are. Okay, now I got to change this page for you. And it's actually smaller than that. There we go. Okay, going back to this screen. Here we go. There we are. So the DeGrasse Tyson arrives on the scene mostly intact. It's, again, a lot of spatial disturbances. But yes, you come across a tiny container. It doesn't even look like a vessel that you would expect in the traditional sense, but it seems to be drifting uncontrolled through space.
Okay, I'd like to scan it.
Okay, I'll let you do one more scan here because I want you to build up some more momentum. So scan's always a good way to do that, plus getting more information. So Perry, I'm going to ask you the same thing. Just do the same roll. And David, not with security this time, but
okay.
with science.
All right, I'll re-roll again. Wow. I preferred my first roll.
Okay, so that's all you needed. So unfortunately, you didn't generate anything extra. One complication, but for right now, the only complication I'm going to apply is adding 2 more threat to the pool, because that might come in handy later. I'm not going to do anything shit, but makes sense. Yeah, you're really not able to pierce deeply through the interference that is all over this region of space. And in fact, you know what? Let me do this. Give me 1 second here. I have a better idea. Yeah, let me reset this. Just to distinguish it as a more wild area of space there. Have a different background. How's that?
Lovely.
All right, there. So there's a lot of gases and disturbances and interference around there, but you do make the scan, and the base scan, what that's going to tell you is that it's a very, from Federation standards at least, a very under-equipped vessel. It does have engines and thrusters, but it doesn't seem to be a deep space vessel at all, even though it clearly is in deep space. And you're detecting some life signs on board, but not much.
Commander, there seems to be people aboard, but this doesn't look like it should be out here.
Can you detect any weapon systems or defense systems that are active?
I'm going to assume no from my scan, right, Bill?
Unless you spend your momentum to pierce in. You have 2 points of momentum left.
Yeah, go on then. We'll use 1.
Okay, you detect no weapons or anything of the sort on the ship. No energy signs that would suggest weaponry.
No weapons that I can see, sir.
All right, open a hailing frequency.
Yes, sir. Open.
You open the hail, but there's no return.
No, nothing back, sir.
Let's broadcast on all open channels.
Yes, sir. Open.
Greetings. Yeah. This is I am Commander Locke of the USS DEGRASSE TYSON. We are a Federation ship. Are you in an emergency situation? Are you in distress? Can we be of assistance? If your communications are not down, please use or cycle your power as a sign of needing help.
The captain looks over you. Might I suggest, Commander, that if they need help, they might not be in a position to cycle power?
That is very true. Lieutenant Drake,
Yes, sir.
Any ideas on how they might signal us?
Depends what systems are active, sir. If they're able to move, they could rotate themselves in a counterclockwise direction.
All right. Let's replay the message, edit it a little bit, do our studio magic.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So I auto-tune him and then send him over.
Okay, message is going, but again, you're getting no response at all, and the ship is still like drifting, just tumbling end over end.
Lieutenant, is there any other kind of scan we could do in order to determine the status of the crew of that ship?
Medical scanner thing? It would be, right? Or just to scan the life signs to see if they're injured.
Would be able to do a scan like that for medical scan. So for this one, we would probably have Jean Thadagia. Can you make that roll there for the scan?
Yes.
I'd assume you would be working on one of the science, science consoles on the bridge. Hang on a second, let's put you on here. There we go.
All right, I'm gonna roll for it.
All right, so you'll just do your control and medicine. And Perry, since you're the guy on the ship right now, can you just do that same exact scan roll? That's all everyone's trying to do with the ship now. You're a very good scanning ship, and that's why sensors get used a lot on this thing. Not a good combat ship, but you're a good scanning ship. Okay. Oh, there you go. 3 right there. So let's put 2 more momentum on there. All right. You're detecting life signs. You detect only about 5 life signs, Gene, and they're very weak. They're very low.
Only detecting about 5 life signs, Captain. Life signs are barely registered.
Does this seem like a small number given the size of the ship?
Given the size of the ship, I would say it's a very small vessel, so it's possible that it only needs a very small crew. But again, from what you know of it, it's not, there's nothing about this suggests they should be deep in space like this.
Sorry, really quick. Perry, what is your character's rank?
That's a good question. Bill, I don't recall. I think it was lieutenant?
Lieutenant commander.
Lieutenant commander.
All right. Lieutenant Commander Velik, from the scans, do we have any records of this kind of ship in our database? Do we have any idea where it might be from or who might be aboard?
Okay, let's see here with Velik will have you at the engineering station on the bridge too, as Jordy sometimes is. So there you are. Okay, for that one, I would say because you don't, you have the information right there at the computer itself, then you could just check easily, Perry. So let me whisper that to you. There we go.
No matches, sir.
All right. Lieutenant Drake, from our scans, does it seem that the environment on board the ship would support what we consider life?
I'd say that even though you asked Drake, I'd say that probably Shanvos Thadagia would have that information closer right now, since he did that. So I'd say like,
my apologies. By Drake, I meant Thadagia. You know my trouble with names.
Life support is low but breathable.
All right, Captain, might I suggest that we send a small away team via transport in order to determine the status of their crew and give any aid that might be needed.
That's a very good idea, Commander.
All right. Lieutenant Drake, I want you to take point on security. Lieutenant Thadagia, there is a high probability that they might need medical aid. And Lieutenant Commander Velik, they might need help in repairs of the ship. So I recommend the 3 of you head to the transport room and prepare to beam over to their ship.
Yes, sir.
Understood, Captain.
Understood, Captain.
Commander.
Okay, and also one more thing with this, we'll say that an imaginary fourth crew member also goes over as well. So in case you need somebody for a specific job, then Chris, you would be able to take over with the support crew role, since we have 3
Cough,
slots
red
we
shirt.
could use this. What's that?
Cough, red shirt.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is next generation now. Red shirts are wearing gold so they don't get stigmatized. So gold shirts. But yeah, so if there's going to be a moment where it's like, oh, we need a science officer for this, or we need a pilot for this, then we could just say that this fourth crew member is that person that you need for it. And then we'll just whip up the character real quick, like we did back in our first session. Okay?
Very good.
All right, so the 3 of you folks are going to get onto the transporter there. Not going to bother with the transporter role because I said that would be a great role for the engineer to do, but the engineer's coming with you, so it would just be a wasted chance. So instead, let's see here. Where are we going to go here? As they never go into the main area when they beam into a place. So we're going to just do this. Okay. And let me just get the peeps on here. Frank Drake. Frank Drake. There we go. Shanvos and Lieutenant Commander Velik. And oh yeah, we want to take a fourth imaginary crew member too, that we don't necessarily want, but we may need. Okay, so oh my goodness. Okay, oh do I have a sound here for us? Do I have a sound I can play? I have a sound I can play. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, I do have a sound. There we go. Hey, look at that. All right, and okay, I think you're all on the right page now. So the 4 of you beam on to a very cramped, narrow corridor inside this tiny tumbling box. The gravity is normal. The air feels very stale. So this box now, scenes in this game, Star Trek Adventures, they have traits which could be advantages, complications, or just a neutral trait that's on the scene. This place is having 3 traits: low power, failing systems, and stale air. Those are the 3 traits applying to this tumbling box of yours.
Okay.
Sounds
Well, I'm going
like
to
a
get
typical
Phaser out anyway.
public school.
Sorry, I didn't hear that. What was that?
So it sounds like a typical Japanese public school.
Basically, yeah. I should just put the trait Japanese public school, and you're like, oh, low power failing systems and bad air. Yeah, I got it. Okay. So as you can see, it's pretty dark with the power out, not completely lightless, very cramped, but it would be easy to find wherever you want to go because it's not a large vessel. You're all equipped, of course, with your tricorders that you bring. I would imagine that Shanvos, Lieutenant Thedaggia, apologize for being so casual with you. Lieutenant Thedaggia would have his medical tricorder. Lieutenant Commander Velik, being the chief engineer, the newly appointed chief engineer, would have his engineering tricorder. And David, you're definitely with a regular tricorder. You all probably have your personal phasers as well.
Cool. I think we should head towards the head of the ship.
Okay. And everyone, well, maybe not everyone, but Thedagia and Valik, is there anything else you think you would bring on your own? You wouldn't have to spend an opportunity cost for this extra equipment now because you were asked to go on this mission. So I'm going to give that to you that you would prepare as you saw fit. Would you bring anything with you? Like Valik might bring just a engineering kit with some basic tools in it. Thedagia, you might bring a medical kit with some basic medical supplies in it. Anything like that?
Yes.
Basic engineering kit seems like a good idea.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely it'll take something.
Okay. Now, how this would normally happen is, let's say we went into a scene, but you didn't say like you were bringing something like that with you. You can still buy this stuff later in the scene through expenditures of the momentum by saying, okay, it's an opportunity cost. So I'm using momentum to suggest that I went and prepared all this stuff ahead of time. So anytime you think like, damn, I wish I had that, that's where momentum comes in. Or if... even in that situation, if you have no momentum, like, okay, I'm just adding another thing, a threat to buy it. That's allowable too. Just to let everyone know. Okay? All right, so you want to head to the front of the ship. Also, again, as a reminder, because always we're still new and we have a new player too, always take a look at your values and keep your values in mind when you think they might help you in the scene, because this is something I truly believe in and this is happening right now, or that they might hurt you in the scene where you think this is something I believe in, but I'm going to have to put that aside to be successful. So always keep checking your values when roles come up, especially, or when a situation happens, and think, can I apply value to this? That will help you level up in the future. Okay.
Quick question on that.
Yeah.
Because I know you said that we're supposed to do the opposite of them in order to gain the what's the term?
You'll gain a point of determination if you do. You don't have to do the opposite of it, but for example, like if I were just, let me grab one of yours, for example, like you still have like a stuff like actions speak louder than words or something like that. So if you were in a situation where instead of actually demonstrating what you're talking about, like a lot of times in the previous game where you were trying to threaten people, when you were trying to threaten the Ferengi, if you would have like called on that as a negative because you're using your Starfleet side there, whereas this value, it was more from your Klingon side, where instead of actually threatening them, being very dangerous towards them, being very violent towards them, where that would have got the point across, you actually used words instead in that last one. So you held yourself back from being violent and you were being diplomatic but stern and intimidating. So you could have called on that, saying like, I think this would be against me as a Klingon, so it now becomes a complication, so it would make the role more difficult for you, but it would give you a point of determination that you could use any time during that session.
Okay, so it's not so much purposely doing the opposite of what you want to do, but just saying that what I'm doing goes against it and then making it a more difficult role.
Basically, yeah, this is something that, like, as a Klingon, like the way of the warrior, like these people are attacking us, my first instinct, my value, the way of the warrior, I want to go in and fight, but I know that that's going to make the situation worse. That's going to get me in trouble in Starfleet. That's going to put the crew in harm. So I'm going to go in unarmed and I'm going to try and negotiate with them. And so you are kind of like put like on your left foot on there. You're not in your best position going in, and you feel like you're betraying something you believe in, which is your value. That's why it makes it a little bit difficult for you. So you don't have to actually do the opposite, but like I said, there's two situations. You have to be in a situation where doing what you want to do or what you would likely do is not the best way forward, you think. So you're willing to take the hit on it in order to do things that you think is best for the situation.
All right, and that gives us a determination. And
I'll give you the determination, yeah.
And each determination can be used towards the opposite of the like growth. Okay.
Yes.
And we get one at the start of each episode. So
everyone starts, everyone starts with one determination. So if you didn't have that clicked on your sheet, remember everyone starts with one determination point. And determination, like I said, that's when you use the value in your favor. You spend that determination to give you a huge boost on it. Or any situation like who did it last time? I think David, you did it. It was without the roll. It was just the thinking outside the box idea, right? So you didn't have to do your roll, but you had your idea, it fit with your value, and you spent your determination point to then set up that advantage, or I believe it was for everyone in that scene.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes. When you use your values positively, you need to spend a point of determination to get the effect. But if you need more determination, you can use your value negatively when it applies to make it harder for you, but you'll get a point back. Okay. Sorry, again, we're not just for you, Perry. We're all still learning how the values and things work. So don't worry if that still sounds confusing to you. Just roll with it. We'll go along.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Apologies. Okay, going back in, you said you want to go to the head of the ship. And again, just in typical Star Trek fashion, I'm assuming one of you would break out a tricorder and start scanning for where you think the head of the ship is, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I think David's going to be doing perception checks for a lightsaber. So.
Yeah, I know. David only succeeds on perception checks no matter what. As you scan out there, so Thadagia, you were the first to say yes, so you have your tricorder out. From what you can tell from all of you basically scanning with your own tricorders to figure things out, with the low power, I'll just say this, that Velik, you can tell that the energy signatures that would suggest like the power source or the engines of this vessel are in one direction, while Thadagia, your scans are showing that the life signs that you're detecting, the weak life signs, are in the opposite direction.
All right, I'll relay that information to them.
Okay, and David, even though you're not the ranking officer on this mission, that's Lieutenant Commander Velik, the commander did put you in point since this is a security issue until the ship is secure.
For the time being, I think we should stick together. The life signs may be weak, but that doesn't mean things can't be dangerous here. Once we ascertain the situation of the people, we can then potentially split up and sort out any issues with the ship. Any issues with this?
Agreed.
Agreed.
And I'm sorry to interrupt, Chris. I'm also just going to let you voice the unnamed, untalented, naked fourth character that's in the scene too, just so we have that extra who's in the background there too. So you can chime in at any time as there you go. So he'll be the lowest ranking person around here, so he's not going to come up with anything brilliant yet. But Chris, I want you to be involved, so there you go. All right.
Well then, Thadagia, lead the way.
Okay, heading towards the life signs, correct?
Yes.
Indeed.
All right, then let me find them. Okay, put that here. Put this here. Put this here. Put this here. Hey, I'm getting the right people for a change. I'm not putting the wrong people on the scene. Success. Okay. All right, I believe we're on the right page. So you step into this room and you see basically what you see there, lots of machinery coming out of the walls, and then this big cluster of 6 pods in the center. It's clear one of the pods is open and empty. The other 5 pods are closed and foggy to various degrees.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Now, the pods themselves are foggy, or the area in general is foggy?
The pods themselves are foggy.
Okay.
Cool. I'll head over and have a look, mainly at the one that's open.
Okay. We'll say, just for ease, the one that's open is the one directly in front of you. Okay. Looking inside, you see it's a cushioned bed inside.
Looks like it could be some sort of stasis pod. Tadaji, can you scan the inside of the pod? I believe this is our life science.
Absolutely.
Okay, Gene, give me a roll for your control and medicine. And do you have any focus that goes with that?
Maybe either xenobiology, possibly, or the emergency medicine.
Oh yeah, I'd say xenobiology will work. Yeah, do a xenobiology focus. So your focus is on. Oh, and this is going to be complication range of 2.
Okay.
So click complication range of 2. Does anyone else want to do a scan of any sort while we're doing this at the same time?
Since I have an investigation focus, should maybe I take a look and see if there's any indication of anything wrong with the stasis pods?
Yeah, that'll be good. Let's do that. So roll that with a focus. That's also going to be complication range 2, and you'll have 2 dice there. Now, your group has 3 momentum currently. You can buy extra dice. I should say, Gene, your difficulty is, both of you, your difficulty is going to be 1. You'll need 1. Oh, I guess Gene's not spending anything there. There he goes. So difficulty 1. Perry, yours is also difficulty 1 as well. If you spend 1 momentum, you can roll a 3rd die. If you spend 2 more after that, you can roll a 4th die. I would say for difficulty 1, you typically would not buy more than 1 extra die. But just letting you know, it's 1 to buy an extra die, 2 more to buy the next die, and then 3 more to buy the last die. So it's 6 total if you want to roll 5 dice.
Okay, so where's the difficulty on the sheet? Is that under threat?
You don't have to select the difficulty on your own. It's just how much you need to get. And let's see, do you have any talents or anything that applies here? Like, no, it doesn't look like that. No, maybe not. Okay.
While they're doing this, I would like to scan as well for the, the guy who's not in the pod, basically.
Okay, then same thing for you. It's going to be threat range of 2 as usual, and your difficulty is going to be 2. And again, if you want to roll extra dice, you have that, and look at your talents in case things are there. Perry, are you ready to roll?
Yeah, so with the extra dice, sorry, could you,
No
I was
problem.
trying to find the difficulty, so I was kind of lost there for a second.
No problem.
So I'm guessing for attributes, would it be control and engineering?
Yeah, you're going to do control and engineering because it's going to be a standard scan for you with the tricorder. You're using your focus, so you'll say yes on that. Complication range of 2. Task rule is going to be a base of 2 for you since you're the lead on this, unless you buy more dice. And then that's
and then I buy more dice and that puts down momentum?
Yeah, you would spend 1 momentum, and that would let you buy die number 3.
Okay, so let's spend 1 momentum and go with an extra die there.
Okay. And then you click the delta, and we'll do that. Okay, let's see. Oh, David, you already made your roll. Okay, good. Lots of things. Let's go. Let's start with Gene first. Gene, you had your what's this? Difficulty of 1, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so with your difficulty of 1, that means you got 3 extra momentum. So you're up to 5 right now. Okay, scanning the open pod and scanning the what's it called? The closed pods there. You can tell that, yes, the rest of the life signs, the 5 life signs that the DeGrasse Tyson detected, are located inside of these 5 pods. You can tell that they are in various stages of deep sleep, but not all of them are in the same level of hibernation.
Okay. Can I tell if any of them are also injured?
You could spend 1 momentum for that to try that, yes?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, spend 1. Scanning through to see if there's any noticeable injuries or damage that would require them to be in stasis. You are not detecting any signs of physical injury at all. They just seem to be fully in stasis.
Okay. I'm going to relay this information to them as well as back to the ship. I'm assuming that we have an open line.
Yeah,
Open communication.
I would imagine,
Okay.
yes. Okay.
Commander, it seems that these are the life forms that we detected. I'm not detecting any sustained injuries here. However, they are in various levels of hibernation.
Okay.
All right.
While that's going on, while you're relaying that, we'll go with Commander Velik scanning along the sides of the machinery, the pods themselves, trying to detect anything from an engineering perspective. Velik, what you get with your, again, you had difficulty 1, so that's another 3 momentum. Now, here's what happens. You have now 7 momentum, but 6 is bankable, which means that you basically get a free question to ask on your scan for more detail, because that 7th one is going to disappear regardless if you use it or not. So I would say you don't have to, but you should use at least 1 momentum for a question, because that momentum can't be banked with the others. Okay?
Okay, so let's go ahead and do that.
All right,
Get some more information.
Let me give you the base information first, and then you could think about the kind of information you're looking for. Going through the scans of all the machinery, you see that the condition machinery isn't bad, but it hasn't been upkept very well, and you're detecting some deeper internal damage inside the systems that might have come from whatever expelled it this far deep into space as it is. And as you're scanning the pods themselves, the pods are functioning currently, but you can tell that because of the lack of power, they are at various stages of shutdown. So although they're working now, they probably will not continue working for much longer.
Okay, so can we determine how long it would take them to shut down?
Okay, spending the momentum, that extra 1 for that, right? So you're at 6, correct? So
yes,
checking with that, probably at the rate that it's going and the condition that they're in currently, the way the power is cycling through, they're probably all going to be shutting down within the next day.
Okay, so I'm going to convey this information back to the ship and to the others.
Okay.
Commander, the scans show that these stasis pods are functioning currently, but they may have some deeper internal damage, possibly from whatever caused it to be out this deep into space. In addition, I believe that the power levels and the current rate of decay show that these pods will fail within the next day, approximately.
All right. Given the current information, I believe there are several questions we need to find answers to before we can choose a course of action. So first, Lieutenant Tadagia, are the people inside the pods of any known race to the Federation?
With your scan, Gene, I would say without having to use the apologize, without having to use the momentum on that, it would be clear that no, they are not.
No, sir.
All right. And can you detect if they have any kind of illness, specifically anything that might be contagious should we release them from their slumber?
Would I have run that through with my first scan? My initial scan.
So yeah, that'll just be a momentum spend for that information. So spending that momentum, again, you're not detecting anything you recognize.
No, sir, I'm not detecting anything.
All
right. And Lieutenant Commander Velik, you said that we have less than a day. The technology that they're using for these stasis pods, how advanced are they in comparison to the technology that the Federation has?
Okay, that one, yeah, I'll say with the spend on that, the spend is probably a good thing. So yeah, that'll cost one. It's definitely, I would say from what you know of technology as an engineer, you would probably equate this level of technology, especially the stasis technology, to be similar to Earth at the end of the 21st, beginning of the 22nd century. It's not as advanced as what you consider to be modern cryostasis.
Commander, based on my scans, I believe this technology is comparable with the technology found on Earth circa the close of the 21st century, possibly early 22nd century, but certainly not equipped to modern standards, particularly in the stasis.
All right. And for the ship itself, can you tell if it is some sort of escape pod or possibly a broken off piece of a larger ship?
I would say just for that, without even spending another thing, right now you don't have enough information to know for sure from what you've seen of the ship.
It's hard to be certain at the moment, Commander. I believe I would need some more deeper investigation before I can come to that conclusion.
And you said they have at least a day until this.
Approximately. I cannot be certain if the systems will last much longer than that.
Well, before we attempt to wake them from their slumber, we should take a short amount of time to finish investigating the remainder of the ship. Perhaps you can find some clue as to where they come from, why they're sleeping, or what they are. We need all the information we can before potentially endangering you or any of our crew. Though our highest priority after our own safety is, of course, the safety of these people we have found. So if you could please continue your investigation and also check to see if if they're exiting the stasis without our assistance, would be dangerous to them.
Okay, a lot of orders there from the commander. Who's on what?
Are you asking me?
What's that?
Are you asking the commander to give specific?
No. I'm just asking the crew there before I get to David in his role.
I believe examining the ship, determining what's caused it to come out here takes priority.
So I'd say Lieutenant Commander Velik to investigate the ship, Thadagia to investigate the conditions of the people in the pods and whether or not coming out of cryostasis would injure them. And then I believe that was everything. Yeah.
Okay. Now, David, Lieutenant Drake, as you're giving orders, you're still scanning around trying to find who might have been in that open pod, and you finally do get a ping on your tricorder, and I do want to apologize. Sorry. There's a tricorder scan. There you go. Okay, so you do get a beep on your tricorder, and you're detecting the signs of another alien, for lack of a better word, that matches those sleeping inside the chambers in a chamber further along down the corridor. However, you're not reading any life signs. You're getting a match to the basically the hit for this genetic reading.
Okay.
By Thadagia.
Okay, then whilst Lieutenant Commander Velik and Lieutenant Thadagia investigate go about their lines of investigation, Ensign with me, I believe I found the final pod sleeper.
Okay. Can we name the ensign? Can his name be Ensign Akashatsu? Is that okay?
Akashatsu. Can do.
There. Just in case he dies. We'll have a hidden way of knowing that he was supposed to die. Okay. So are you all splitting up is what I need to know.
Yes.
Okay, so Thadagia, I'm assuming you're staying in here to monitor the life signs, yes?
Yes.
Okay, David, where are you heading off to?
Wherever that body was.
Where the body was. And then Velik, you want to go where?
Probably engineering would be the best to determine what's going on with the ship.
Okay, then let's do that. Let's just put everyone on the side here just in case they want to come back into the scene. And let's go first. Let's go first to another place here. Okay, hang on. Okay, you would Velik, what's his name? Velik, Drake, and the ensign, they head off in the same direction, but then break away once they get to a turn in the corridor. And we will start with Velik in the engineering. So Velik, you get into the engine room of this chamber, just scanning to where the reactors are. Again, you're picking up the same kind of lower technology, and it becomes clear just stepping inside the room here that there is no warp core that you would expect on the starship to get deep into space.
Can I determine if there's anything unusual happening with the ship, with the ship's engines?
Let's see, now that you're in the engineering core itself, the power is still off and kind of fluctuating, so you're not going to be able to get help from the ship itself. So you're going to have to just do tricorder reading itself. So difficulty 2, again, complication range of 2.
Astral. I'm guessing for attributes, I'm thinking, would it be control and engineering again?
Yes, since it's going to be same rule, but you're just scanning something different.
Okay, so this would be a task roll of 2 then?
Task roll of 2, yes, unless you buy more dice.
Let's just stick with 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So yeah, you only needed 2, and that's exactly what you got. So there you go. So for this scan here, you're saying you don't see anything out of place. Just you don't see, there's no power going into the engines, and you're still reading that underlying level of both structural and system damage throughout the ship. That's something basically hit this thing hard, or it experienced some kind of trauma that has been having a cascade effect on the systems.
Okay. Do I have any way of determining what the damage might be?
I would say just from the scan that you got now, well, let's say if you want, no, I wouldn't even say, not even momentum spent on here, because you really wouldn't be able to tell specifically without getting a closer look at what it is. All you know is that the entire structure seems to have been banged up and damaged, and from what you can tell of your scans, that's having an adverse effect on the equipment.
Okay, so I'd like to communicate this back to the ship.
Okay.
Commander, I'm in the engineering room. There does not appear to be a warp core, and though nothing seems out of place, I am detecting that there is no power going to the engines, and this is due to my determination is something has either hit the ship or it experienced some form of trauma in order to cause this underlying level of structural and system damage.
I suppose that is not too surprising given the current location of the ship and the strange fluctuations that we've been experiencing. More than likely, the ship that it came from probably suffered a worse fate. Please continue your investigation and see if there's any way that you might bring the engines back online.
Okay. Next, if I may, where we at? Okay. What the heck is that? There's weird tokens on the next map that I don't know why they're there. Okay, David, we're going with you next.
Okay.
If you don't mind.
I'll allow it.
This time. Okay, so David, I gotta find how to get to you. There it is. All right, David, there you go. You enter in what seems to be the control area of the ship. And as you can tell, it's extremely narrow. It's very claustrophobic. It's not like you imagine the control area of like a Federation starship with all your consoles laid out very clearly and open space. This is more like a computer bay.
Okay, I would like to have a look around and see if I can find that body first.
Okay. You go walking around, looking around. Let's see here, and we'll say probably right about that area when you come around here. That's where you see a body crumpled up on the ground in a pool of blood.
Can I determine what caused the pool of blood? As in what the injuries are?
Just by looking at it or scanning it?
Immediately looking, and then if I can't determine it straight away, scanning.
The body is slumped over on its front on the ground, and you see the pool of blood is coming from the front. So without touching the body, you wouldn't know for sure.
Okay, then I would like to turn it over.
Okay. Turn it over, and you see it looks like it was stabbed. There's clearly a large puncture in the gut.
Shit. Okay, at this point, I would message to Velik and Thadagia that I found what appears to be a murdered member of this alien crew, and to keep the phases ready at all times. And once you finish, to regather in the pod room.
Understood.
Okay.
Understood.
So if this is the helm, I'd like to try and access. Actually, can I determine how long ago he was stabbed? If it's a pool of blood, I'm guessing. Is it wet? Is it warm? Is he?
So you're just doing all this by touch?
Well, I'll whack out the tricorder.
Tricorder?
I recommend going by taste.
Yeah. Just crawling around, licking all the blood up off the floor there. Okay. All right. In this case, let's see. Yeah. So you'll do a, well, I would say control and medicine, since you're using the tricorder to do that. This is going at a complication range of 3. And it's going to be on difficulty of 1.
Complication range 3. Any chance I can use xenomorphology as a focus to see how long?
So you're trying to determine how long it's been dead. Oh, why not? You know,
Yay!
You've been wanting to use it, so why
Like
not?
that one science thing.
Doesn't exactly apply, but yeah, sure. Why not?
Cool. And then I'm also going to use a momentum to get 3 dice if we're at complication range 3.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
Down to 3 momentum. Okay, no
problem. I got my momentum back.
Yes, you got 4 momentum back, correct? You got 4 momentum back. So 1 is extra momentum. 1 is extra on there. So the what you scan, the blood is dry, but it's probably, from what you could tell, he's only been dead for maybe a couple of days.
Am I able to determine what sort of blade he was stabbed with? Not a atlas, was it?
Well, you have a extra momentum, so we'll say we're burning that one for the question. Just scanning through there, it would appear to be a dagger type weapon, but a pretty large dagger type weapon. It could be similar. Your reading shows similar to the Klingon Daktag dagger.
Okay. Okay. I don't think there's anything else I can determine from the body, so I want to go and start checking the computer banks to see if I can find any information about what caused any damage to the ship, if there was anyone else on board, aka Klingons. Yeah.
Okay. All right. You go to the console, and we are going to have to do a control. For this one, I would say with the computers that they're having here, maybe not even control would be the best one for this, because these are all different systems. So maybe insight is actually the better one. Insight and engineering would be the best there.
Damn.
And
it's like my 2 worst ones.
Again, this is going to be a complication range of 3 again. And this time, because of the very unfamiliar systems, the low power, and that the difficulty is also going to be 3.
Okay, definitely want to use momentum.
Okay, well, you're at full 6 here, so how much you spending?
Do you know what? I'm going to get 2 extra dice, so I'm going to spend 3.
Okay. 3, so 2 extra dice. Oh, and I forgot at the same time there, David, you spent momentum on the last one, didn't you?
Yep.
Remember, you have your untapped potential, so anytime you buy dice, you have to roll a challenge die afterward. So can you roll the challenge die from the previous one, and then you're doing it again? So you rolled 1. Oh, you rolled an effect, so that adds 1 to threat.
Damn it.
And you're buying 2 more dice again, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to have to roll
dice?
1 more. No, just 1 time.
Oh, thank God.
Okay, nothing. Okay, there you go.
Okay, well, let's roll the dice.
Okay. Okay, 2011. There you go, and you got 1 of the momentums back.
Lovely.
Okay, going to the what you find to be the controls, trying to get it working here. There's not really any kind of security logs. You don't see any kind of security system at all. The ship really has been operating with no power for an extensive period of time. The controls have not been activated much, except for probably about 2 days ago, from what you can tell on the timestamps, that some of the systems were attempted to be turned on. And if your reading is correct, 2 days ago was probably when that stasis pod was also opened.
Okay. Am I able to transfer the data from the ship to ours? Is that something I'd be able to do?
And it doesn't look like there's any kind of relay like that that you could do instantly. You'd probably have to jury rig something. What's that?
Get a USB?
They have a SD card slot, but it's a micro SD, and you don't have the adapter.
Never mind.
Yeah.
Okay. I think there's much else I can determine from here.
Okay.
I will head back towards the pods.
Okay. And then let's go back to the pod with where is it? There we go. With our good friend Thadagia. Thadagia, okay, what exactly were you going to be doing in this time, according to the commander's orders?
Basically what he asked. I was also trying to see if there was a way that we could possibly transport them, perhaps the pods, to our ship in some way. See if there was a way to, if we could even integrate them into like a shuttle bay that wasn't being used.
That's a good idea. Looking at it again, that would be more of an engineering thing to take a look at, but excuse me, why don't we make a roll for that? That's pretty good. But what was the other things you want to scan so we get that all taken care of too? You want to look about transporting the pods, and
yes.
What was there anything else?
I can't remember. Oh my, offhand, I don't remember what I was going to do, but other than that, okay. Yeah, just see if we can possibly implement that.
No problem. Okay, so then that'll be a reason plus engineering roll on there. excuse me, reason engineering. And the difficulty of this, I would say, would only be 2. And again, complication range of 2 for you.
All right.
And there's, I don't know if you want it or not, but you still have 4 momentum left in case you're buying more dice.
Okay.
Wook, wook. Let's see, there we go. All right, 2, that's all you needed. Yeah, looking at the way that these pods are integrated in, they're not actually able to be separated. You can tell they're actually part of the superstructure of the ship. So, excuse me, removing the pods themselves is not really an option.
Okay. All right, then I want to continue getting as many scans, or are there any consoles in the area that I can take a look at to see who these members of the pods are?
Okay, yeah, you see that there's consoles on all of the pods, but the language itself you're not familiar with. So it's not helping you about who is actually inside.
Okay.
Okay, and oh, why does this keep loading slow? Okay, everyone else is coming back to the pod room, yes?
I am.
Okay. Velik, were you done in engineering?
I wanted to see if, as the commander asked, if I could determine if there's a way to turn the power back on.
Sure, let's do that first then. Okay, let me actually move the tag to the right thing so everyone sees. Okay, so we'll do the scan there. That would again be a, I would say for you, a reason and engineering, because you're trying to judge what the systems are and how well they are. So
Okay.
reason plus engineering, and let's see, I'd say your observation focus would probably fit.
Okay. And then I'd also like to use a momentum as well.
Okay.
So that would that'd be 2 dice we're looking at, or 3?
If you buy 1 die with momentum, that's 3.
3, okay. So I got this right. Well, I lost my screens here.
Okay.
Okay, so complication range set to 2. Then task roll, do I set that to 2 or to 3?
That'll be 3.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay. 2 successes, that's all you need. So 2 successes, there you go. Okay, with your expertise in engines and your experience with engines, you figure it should be possible, even with the damage the ship sustained, it should be possible to get the power restored, at least to some degree, but you don't know how well the systems will be in operation after they're restored. But yes, it's definitely a possible task.
Okay, so let me relay that to the commander.
Okay.
Okay. Commander, I've determined that the power, it may be feasible to restore it, but I cannot determine how much longer the power will last.
At this point, has Lieutenant Drake already informed me of the body?
I should have done.
Drake, probably, yes.
So I was on, it's the open channel that I told everyone about the body.
All right. All right. Well, given the situation with the inhabitants of the ship, before we turn their engines on, we should resolve we should resolve this situation and find out who they are, who's been there, and what we can do to help them. But it is very good to know that we will be able to help them restore function to their ship. Please regroup with everyone.
Understood, Commander. I'm heading back to regroup with the rest.
Okay. Then let's go into apologies. Jeez. Okay, getting back to seeing when you're returning there, so you're the first to come in. Come back. Okay, Thadagia, you see Lieutenant Drake and the extra ensign arrive on scene, and a second later, Lieutenant Commander Velik also returns.
What did you guys find?
Nothing out of the ordinary. I was looking for a way to somehow integrate the pods into the structure of our own, but there's no way to do so without significantly altering the structure as is.
I see. How long do you think it would take to bring them out of stasis?
Do I have this information?
Well, we'll
Might
say
be
that
good to find out. Oh,
we'll say that as you're saying that, I'll spend 2 points of threat there as you hear some strange noise coming from the pod next to you, as suddenly it's going into a reactivation cycle, and you see hissing coming out the side. There's some steam rising up, and a moment later, the pod itself begins to open slowly.
I've got my phaser at the ready and move myself in front of anyone who's near it.
Okay, so Gene, are you backing up?
Slightly, but I have my hand on my phaser as well.
Okay, security guy coming in, ensign standing there. Velik, you also hear this. Where would you like to be?
I will stay by the door there and have my phaser ready on stun.
Okay, and after a moment, as the steam and fog is clearing, you see a similar to the body that you found, an alien man with a reddish tinge to his skin. He slowly sits up in the pod, looking out the room, looks straight at you, Lieutenant Drake, looks at Stagia, and he starts stumbling out of the pod, shaky limbs, like, wait, who are you? And let's just stop right there. 10-minute break time. We're reaching we already passed our halfway point. 10-minute break. Need to go bathroom. Need to get drinks. That's the time to do it because we're coming up to a commercial break on here. Give you time to think about what's happening and how you would like to continue. Okay?
Cool.
All right. Restroom times. Yeah, let's take a break. 10 minutes. Let me get a new drink here. One moment, please. I stop the recording. All right. And back from commercial break. Here we go. We are still on or I should say in the room with the stasis pods. And there you are face to face with this red tinted alien man who is just looking at all of you with an expression of confusion and fear. Who are you? Where am I?
I'm Lieutenant Frank Drake of the USS DEGRASSE TYSON. We found your ship floating through space, adrift. Who are you?
My ship? He's glancing around the room. My name is Awas Kete. Are you, he's squinting, he's blinking, he's trying to, like, the dim light plus waking up, you figure it's messing with his head.
Lieutenant, I think he's suffering from hibernation confusion.
Is there anything you can do?
I'm good. Can I run a scan just to see if I can
sure
get a good check on his vitals?
All right, yeah, do your control medicine. This one, complication range of 3, and for this, just difficulty of 1.
All right.
And I would say probably your xenobiology focus still takes effect. Okay. Yeah, with 1 extra momentum pulled from that. Yeah, scanning him, he's definitely suffering from the effects of what you would call like a hibernation sickness, I guess, for lack of a better term, that he's reacting to. You just imagine waking up in a completely new location with new people around you, but after an indeterminate amount of time when your body's been put through quite a lot. So he's definitely in a state of confusion.
Right. I'd like to administer some hydrochloricide. It might help stabilize you.
Okay. So you'll go and you don't even have to roll for that. You just go up and inject him with the hypospray. You inject him with the hypospray. There it is. Okay, there, the sound's on there. Okay. All right. As soon as you do, he jumps back. You're like, well, why? Huh? What are you doing?
It's okay. It's okay. I'm just helping you to readjust.
Okay. He's staring at you. Like, are you blue?
Indeed, I am.
Are you an angel?
I heard the space pirates talk about.
I'm an Andorian, in fact.
As soon as you said that, he turns and looks at Drake. Are you aliens?
To you, yes.
He stumbles out of the pod, falls on the floor. He's desperately trying to stand up.
Is he moving away from us, or just?
Yeah.
We mean you no harm.
Who's going to say the next part? There you go. Okay, finally. How do you speak my language?
Our universal translator allows us to speak in many languages.
What? He's looking at the other pods like, where are my people? Why am I here?
Your guess is as good as mine as to why you're here, but there's 4 more of your team species in the pods here. Do you know why you're in them?
He shakes his head.
Do you know what happened to your ship?
My ship. I I don't. What ship?
The ship you're in right now.
He looks around. This. No, I don't know.
What is the last thing you remember?
The last I remember. And as soon as he's starts saying, he starts shaking his head, and he tries to make a run for the door, but his legs just aren't strong, and he falls back down right by his pod.
Why did you try and run?
Why did you bring me here? What are you doing to me?
We didn't bring you here. We found you here.
Then why can't I remember?
I don't know.
This is too much. He starts sounding like he's hyperventilating as he crumples on the floor.
Is he passed out?
Not yet. He's kind of under control because of the injection that Thadasia gave him, but he's just mentally not able to pull himself up. Probably without that injection, he would have been out.
I have a quick question about our ship. Do we have a counselor?
Counselor, not a player one. It's possible that we could have a counselor through a supporting crew.
Well, I the counselor in training, and that's what I'll play.
Okay, so this is our counselor in training right here.
What a coincidence.
Or do you want her to be, or do you want the counselor to be when you get back to the ship? Or do you want to be, this person has training as a counselor as well as being whatever their duty was?
Well, I've been wondering if our ship had a counselor, especially after watching more episodes of TNG.
I was hoping the ship would get a counselor, but nobody picked a counselor. But no, we could definitely make this be our counselor in training. And since the DeGrasse Tyson has the trait of being undermanned and with an inexperienced crew, it makes sense that there isn't an actual full-time counselor there, but you would make service of the person with the most training, who just so happens to be this comm badge walking around here. So shall we do that? So hang on a second. Let's quickly make this character up. Okay, let's make this up. So we gotta make a quick supporting character real fast. Here we go. Starship, all right. Next generation, here we go. Supporting character. All right, so department would be what? Science? Because it would be counselor, right? So, yep. Counselor, where do you want her 10 value to be? And her strongest value would probably be in either reason, insight, or presence for a counselor.
Let's go with insight.
Okay, insight. And then the 9s, the 2 9 values go in where?
Reason and presence.
Reason and presence. And presence. Okay, and then the lowest value, the 7, where does that go?
Daring.
Daring, okay. Discipline, I imagine that medicine would be her top 1 or his top 1. Every time I say her, I'm picturing Counselor Troy because that's my counselor.
Yeah.
So, okay, so 4 in medicine, right?
Yep, that sounds good.
Where would her 3 go?
Science.
Science makes sense. Okay, and her 2 lowest scores, the 1s go where?
Security and con.
Okay, there we go. And then we at least need one focus right now for whatever it's going to that you need it for, and then we can make the other two focuses later. So what focus do you want her to have or him to have? It's not Troy. I can do this with another counselor. It doesn't have to be Troy. Okay.
Focuses are one we make up, or they're
Yeah, they're all the ones you make up for just the field of study that they're in or the thing that they do best.
Let's make it. That's actually. I mean, it kind of fits for the situation, but I think it would also be really fit for the ship in our general mission.
Yes.
So let's make it focus being first contact.
First contact.
With underdeveloped races.
Okay. First contact. Okay. Okay, then if you have the other focuses, we could do that later. We don't have to worry about that right now. So ensign would be the rank, we'll say. For now, we could change that later. Let's get a name for this character. If anyone has a name, because also Perry, this is a good thing though. These supporting characters that come up, anyone can control them from episode to episode. So right now, Chris is obviously making a counselor. Let's say maybe 2 episodes from now, we need a counselor again. You're not in the scene. You'll be like, oh, I'm going to take ensign such and such and be in the scene there. And now you're controlling it. So these are just the supporting characters, the supporting cast that will appear occasionally in the episodes. But anyone can control them in different episodes. Right now, Chris is making this character, so Chris is going to control the character for the duration of the episode when the character appears, but they become a permanent part of the crew after this.
Okay.
It's a very interesting system they have here, which I like quite a bit. Do you have a name, Chris?
Lutant.
Lutant. Can you spell that, or it doesn't matter because you're never going to spell it the same way twice?
Lutant.
Okay, Lutant. And what race do you want Lutant to be?
Let's just make it human.
Make it human. Let's see. Choose 3 attributes. Okay, so she'll also get a +1 to any 3 attributes. So her top 3, right?
Yeah, let's go with that. Nice and easy.
Okay, and is she male, female, or other?
Let's go with other.
There we go. Okay, we have our supporting character made. There's Lutant. I'll put her stats in the game later. But Chris, if you made her with me, then you have that. But you could just give me 1 second. We'll get that ready. Okay, so we have Lutant. There you go. Did you make her as well on the thing? I don't know if you have access to that character creator.
No, I didn't.
Okay, then I'll just put that in real quick. But for now, we'll just do it the old-fashioned way. Okay, so Lutant speaks up. Where are you doing, Lutant?
All right. Did you say your name was UAS?
Yes, Awas. Yes.
Awas, excuse me. So you say you can't remember anything. Can you tell me anything about yourself? Anything you can remember? Anything about your where you come from, your family, friends, your profession?
Okay, let's try your roll for Lutant. How's that? Okay. Now, since you're not going to have the fancy dice roller right now, you could just use the D20s that are built into the chat and do the roll for that. Okay. So the thing for Lutant, this is going to be, I would say, for her an insight and medicine for her. So that's a 15 you have to roll under. It's still going to be the complication range of 3, which all you have to do is keep in mind. You don't have to do it. And Lutant, as a character, can still spend momentum as they're part of the crew. Excuse me.
Okay, and how many D20s is that?
D20 is that would be 2 to start with, as usual, unless you buy more.
Well, we'll just start with 2D20, 2 then.
Okay, 15 is your thing. Let's see, you got one success on there. I forgot to tell you what the difficulty was, but actually, you only needed one success. So there you go. Doesn't matter if it ties up 19. He starts, the questions are very supportive, and it makes him think about what he does know, what he does remember. Like, I remember my family, my parents. I remember my friend. Back where I grew up. I remember my sister. And he just starts rattling off names of people that he knows.
All right, very good. That's a great start. And do you remember what you did? What was your profession?
I think he looks around the room. I think I worked with machines. I can't name these, but I feel like I know how they work. Yes, I think I did that.
And do you remember where you're from? Do you remember your hometown's name, your country's name?
My country, my territory was Tuva.
Tuva. Very good. And do you remember the planet's name that you're from?
Yeah, yes, we are from. I am from Menu.
Menu. All right. And have you ever been to space before?
Yes. I don't know.
Okay. Is it strange to be in space? Do your people often easily go to space?
I don't know.
All right. Well, how about these stasis chambers? Are they common for your people? Do you recognize them?
He looks back at the pod. Yes, I don't know what it is, but yes, I feel like I know them.
All right, very good. Well then, do you remember do you recognize any of these other companions of yours? And kind of show him to the windows on the pods.
He follows around and he's looking in there, like trying to wipe the fog off the windows and looking. No, I don't know. I don't think I know. He stops in front of Velik and just leaps back a little, like, you're different too. You're all different in a way. How many aliens are on here?
We are all part of Starfleet Federation, a conglomerate of different races and species that work together to explore the galaxy and to bring peace and discovery and scientific discovery to all. We have discovered your ship, floating derelict, here in quite a unknown part of space, unknown to us anyway. And we have stopped to try and help, as there was no response when we when we tried to open communications. And then I tap my communicator and say, "Could someone on the ship please transport us some water and, may I say, neutral food?"
It'll take a moment or two, but eventually you get a little supply package teleported over.
Right.
As soon as it, we want to have that. We want to have that sound, don't we? We want to have a sound, huh? We're all about the sounds around these parts here. The only problem is, well, no, I take that away. There's multiple problems for you. Let's see here. Here we go. Here we go. You ready for this? Ready for this? What does this sound like? I have no idea. Hey, that sounds pretty accurate, doesn't it? Okay, so the little thing teleports in, and he sees it, and his eyes just go wide. It's like, what kind of power do you have to make food appear from nothing?
That's simply our transporter. We're able to transport matter from our ship, from the transporter room in our ship, to a generally local region.
He just stares at you dumbfounded.
Please, have some water. Calm yourself.
He takes a glass, and as he's drinking, he looks into the other open capsule next to it. He's like, where is the other one who was here?
I look to Drake.
He appears to have been attacked a few days ago.
He starts backing away from everyone again.
Not
we don't
by us.
want to alarm you. We are just as confused about this as you are.
Do you recall how many members you have aboard your ship?
I don't know about any ship. I don't remember why I'm here.
This room you're in, this structure. Do you remember who else was with you? Or how many people were with you?
It looks familiar in a way, but I don't remember ever being here until now.
It's quite all right. We'll help you figure it out together.
Okay, so what's your course of action?
I think at this point we might need to take him back onto the ship and perform some medical tests.
Okay, David, would you say that the ship is secure?
I haven't done a thorough sweep yet, so I'll do that before saying it's secure, so I wouldn't head back. But given that someone has been murdered, not 100% yet.
Okay, then until it's secure, then you are still in charge until you have determined there's no threat to the crew.
Cool. Okay. While Ensign, oh crap, what was her name again?
Uh-oh.
Tom?
Uh-oh. Oh, no, wait. Nobody help. I want to hear what Chris says.
What? I know it. Lieutenant.
Oh, okay. Mark this day down. Okay, it's the first time I got it right. Okay.
Okay. Whilst Lieutenant talks with OWASP, I'm going to go and do a security sweep to make sure it's safe, and then we'll... Do you know, whilst I do that, if Lieutenant wants to beam back with OWASP to the ship with the Dagia to make sure... No. Lieutenant and OWASP beam back to the ship. Thadasia, you continue to check up on those remaining in the pods. If you can determine whether or not they're going to wake up soon as well, it will be better to know. And Velik, if you can try and keep this ship powered for as long as you can before we determine whether or not to wake up the other people.
Understood.
All right, sir.
Okay.
Let's get to it.
All right, so we are going to say that that the counselor and OAS are going to beam out to the ship. So let's see. Before you do that, I want the counselor to prepare OAS for what he's about to experience, just to see what his reaction might be.
All right, Uwas, in order to best care for you, we're going to travel back to our ship, which is nearby. So we will be doing similar to what you saw the food did. The transporter on our ship will beam us back to the transporter room. You'll feel a bit of a tingling sensation. It takes a little getting used to, but I'm sure you will be just fine. This is something that, for us, is a daily routine, no different than walking through a door.
Roll your presence and medicine. And again, it's going to be difficulty of, well, we'll say with your previous successes, since you haven't had a problem with him, we'll say it's only difficulty 1, but still complication range of 3.
Okay, so that's 2d20? No.
Yes, unless you buy more.
Oh, yeah. And we have how much right now? We have
You
quite a
have 4.
Okay, I'll go ahead and use one to make it 3d20.
Okay. Oh, some really good rolls on there. Okay, yeah, that would actually be with since, well, I'll say the first contact focus still applies on there, and because of that, that would be 5 successes, which would be 4 additional momentum. That brings you 3 and plus 1 over, but not really much you could do with that 1 right now in this situation. So he seems to trust you implicitly, even though he's still very unsure about what's going on. So the 2 of you beam out. Okay. Commander Velik, are you going to the engine room, or are you going to check a different area of the ship to, in your attempts to restore power?
Which would it be best to go straight to the engine room, or is there any other areas that I could check for anything that might be able to help restore the power?
For something like this, engineering, of course, would be the main place to go to get things ready. But also, you're not really familiar with the ship and with this technology, so probably the more that you've seen from how it's controlled, or maybe where the different types of energy or power or fuels are stored, could give you some insight into how to go about the repairs. So
okay,
it's your call.
In that case, let's go to the bridge first to kind of see how everything fits together and how it's all controlled.
Okay. Thedagia, how about you? What is your course of action going to be? Are you going to keep? Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, I don't know how much more I can do here, so I think I'm going to accompany Velik to the bridge as well.
Okay.
See if I can get some more information,
Okay. And Drake, you're heading to the bridge also, or where were you going?
Everywhere I haven't been yet.
Where you haven't
been.
There's
anywhere.
Okay. Yeah, we'll figure
Security
something
sweep,
out.
so just check everything.
Sweep everything. Sweep the leg, as they say. All right. All right, then let's go, since 2 of you are going to the bridge, let's go to the bridge first. Up. Okay, let's not go to the bridge because I don't remember where I put it. Okay, let's go to the bridge. We'll keep these tokens here in case we need it in the future, but we'll have to bring the new guys in. And where's Velik? Okay, going to bring, wow, Velik's a large man. He's standing on top of Gene. Okay, So going to the controls. There we go. All right, the two of you enter the bridge, and coming in again, you find it just as Lieutenant Drake did, very, very cramped, very crowded. There's just narrow walkways and access corridors. That's basically a very few things in the ways of control. It does not look like a bridge in the sense that you're familiar for space travel. Over here, Gene, as you're scanning around Thetagia, you see the dead body, another red-tinted alien on the floor.
Yeah, you know, I want to take a closer look at that myself, run some scans.
Okay, so you'll head in that direction. Velik, what are you wanting to scan or take a look at or examine at this point?
I want to get some more information about the technology and see if it resembles anything I might be familiar with.
Okay, that's a good thing. So let's do that first. How about that's going to be insight for you because you're trying to apply this unknown technology with what you know, and insight and engineering.
Okay.
And again, this isn't a major, this isn't like a huge thing. I mean, it's going to be difficult for you for sure. It's going to be a difficulty of 3 since it's older technology, it's new technology. But yeah, that's it. Now, looking at your talents, that's if you buy with threat, that's for a different thing. Just as a thing, is there anything you want to use for this?
Probably bold engineering.
Okay.
Would that work?
That would work. That would, you would have to buy an extra die with threat for that to work.
Okay.
So if that's what you want to do, that's no problem. You'll just add 1 threat, but you get to roll 3 dice.
Okay.
Okay.
The complication, is that still set to 2?
Complication range is 3 here.
3. Okay.
And let's see, there's not... I would say your focus of observation could come into play because you're basically... Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking that as well. I mean, observation or investigation or even computers, maybe, all those would probably... any of those would probably fit here, right?
Would probably work here too. And here's something, I don't know if you want to use it either, but again, it's one of the hardest things to use and it's your first game. So pointing it out, just as I look at your values too, I don't know if you consider this a crucial moment that you want to use it, a value, but again, the more you use your values, the more likely it is you're going to advance in the later game and not really level up because they don't have that here, but advance makes you a little bit better or can improve the ship or other things for everyone as a whole. But looking at your values you have here, I would think in a situation like this, experience brings wisdom would apply since you're a veteran engineer and you've seen a lot of different alien ships over the years. A situation like this would be a logical way of saying like that value would fit. You could spend your determination and you get 2 automatic free successes.
Okay, so yeah, let's do that then.
Okay.
And,
If you want to, I don't want to force you into doing it. I just want to point out because I know it's one of the trickier things to think about in this game.
Let's try it. Let's see how it works out.
All right, so let's say, Velik, you use your experience brings wisdom.
So that adds, I add more to determination.
You lose your determination.
Lose it, okay.
You'll lose your determination, but what happens then, I'm going to take this threat away that you used already. You'll get...
Okay, so I'm still at 3 threat then?
Oh, no. Don't worry about that. The threat was just the die that you bought there. So what happens now, take your die back down to 2 for the task roll. Okay. Just for a moment. Take it down to 2. And what this does, and this is again where it's a little tricky, when you use determination in a moment like this, it buys an extra die, like your third die in theory, but you never actually roll this die. The die is assumed to already be rolled, and it came up a 1. It's a critical success, so it's giving you 2 successes automatically. Now, if you wanted to buy another die from this point forward, it already counts as you have bought 1 die with the threat. So the next die is actually die number 4, even though you would only be rolling 3 dice, because that 4th one has already hit the table as a 1 via your determination.
All right, let's stick with what we got here then.
Okay, so you probably don't want to use that threat to buy that extra die, correct?
Right, yeah, so we're still at 2 then?
You're still at 2, okay, and complication 3. Okay.
Okay, go.
Okay, no, I'm never on the actual thing. Okay, you needed 3 successes. Your value use got you 2 successes, and you rolled 1 success. So those are the 3 that you need. You also rolled a complication. That's what the red one means, because of the complication range. So I'll get to that in a second. But you got your successes. So you're going around from console to console, you're checking inside the alcoves, you're going down the corridors, you're stepping around the dead body, you're walking around Thadaji as he's working, you're making meticulous note of everything in a very ordered, logical Vulcan way. And you're seeing how the ship is put together. So this understanding, what apologies, what I could say is you succeeded at the roll. So another use of momentum is called let me see if I could find the name for it. Another use of momentum is called create advantage. So when you succeed at a roll, which is usually a difficulty task 2, but this was a special thing, I'm going to say that you could use your create advantage by spending 2 momentum if you want to, which then applies this advantage to the situation from now on. So it will make any kind of repairs that you are doing, any kind of work like that, it will lower the difficulty of that by 1 permanently, because you've succeeded in understanding how this ship works.
Okay, so let's do that then.
Okay, so you got your understanding. So instead of it being like a one-time boon, you'll spend the 2 momentum now, and now you create the advantage for you that you have an understanding of the menu systems. Okay, we'll call it that. Have an understanding of menu system. Okay, for the complication. For the complication, though, I'm going to give you a complication for the fact that just how bad the air is in here, or maybe it's because of how dark it is in here, or how claustrophobic it is. You're not entirely sure, but something about just you're pushing yourself too hard. You feel like you're pushing yourself too hard, so you're getting a complication of unfocused.
Okay.
So that's like a negative trait that's now locked onto you. And now you have this positive trait disadvantage for when you're trying to fix the ship. So you have 2 different traits that were just added to you in this one moment. If that makes sense. Okay. Yeah. All right. So when you're ready and you'll be ready to go and start working on the engines or making your adjustments, you're ready with your advantage. So I'm going to jump to Thadagia real quick, if I may. Okay, Thadagia, what kind of a scan, or how do you want to check this guy?
Now, as I recall, he was stabbed by a blade, correct?
Yeah, you heard that from Lieutenant Drake, yes.
Did we ever find the blade? Is the blade on or around?
You don't see a blade there, and Drake made no mention of the blade.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to run another scan, closer scan, to see maybe what type of blade was used, or at least what the metal or substance, material that was used against him, and just exactly how long he's been dead.
Okay, so you
If I
pull
can
out
get
your
a specific.
yeah, you pull out your tricorder. Okay, make your scan again. That's going to be control medicine. Xenobiology would work on here, I would imagine. I don't know if there's anything else you want to use on this.
Not that I know of.
Don't think so. Don't see anything.
I don't think so.
Okay,
No.
yeah. All right, so same thing. This is going to be a difficulty of 1, and again, the 3, complication range of 3.
Okay. And the task roll is what? Yeah.
Task roll is 2 unless you buy more dice.
Okay.
Okay, no, you don't even have to buy dice. So you get 3, so that's 2 bonus momentum on there. So you're up to 6 if you bank it. But of course, you could use it for asking questions, obtaining information. Scanning it. The main thing you want to find out with the scan is what? Let me get the basic of what you want to find.
The approximate time of his death and the substance or material of the blade that was used against him.
Okay, so the time of his death was, by your medical tricorder, you could tell it was a little over 2 days ago. He died pretty quickly from the trauma there, but you're also detecting some bruising around his face and also on his hands. So it wasn't just a stab and death. It looks like there was a bit of a struggle. As far as the material that was there, that would need a momentum spend for it, because that's going much deeper into the thing. So you want to use the obtain information?
Yes.
Scanning that, what kind of weapon would make that wound, or what kind of metal or what kind of material would do it? It's definitely consistent with the wounds caused by Klingon daggers.
Okay. Interesting. And I would also like to see if there's any other DNA present on his body that might not, that's not his or this person's.
Okay. So that's 1 more momentum, yes?
Yes.
Okay, scanning around, scanning on his body and in the blood, you start detecting traces of different kind of DNA. And while your readings are pulling you to their location, you can start seeing clearly droplets and smears on some of the consoles and on the floor of a lavender color blood, which you know even before the tricorder gives you the results that it's a match for Klingon DNA.
Okay.
Any
I want to
more
relay this.
information, or are you done with that?
I think I'm done.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to relay this to the bridge. This is the audio to the bridge. I've run some scans here. It appears approximately to what Drake had reported. His time of death was about 2 days ago. There was some struggle here, and given the nature of the bruising and some of the DNA patterns here, we're showing Klingon DNA and damage done by a Klingon dagger, possibly.
This is not welcoming news. Thank you for the update.
Welcome, Captain.
Okay. If you don't mind, I want to jump real quick to Lieutenant Drake, if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay, and then I'll have to looking for. There we go. Right. And go to this tab. Get your face in here. Okay, and let you see it too. There we go. All right. Drake, you're going from corridor to corridor. Again, it's not a very big vessel at all. It's very narrow. There's not even sleeping chambers, you could tell. There's nothing like a mess hall. There's not really a storage. The only thing close that you find is on the room that you're in now that appears to be storing the chemicals for both powering the ship and likely keeping the stasis pods working.
Okay. I just want to look around at everything, see if I can find anything out of place or any clues as to what may have happened.
Okay. You whip out your tricorder and you make your scan. So just give me a control and science.
Complication 2?
Yep.
Boom.
Okay. Oh, and I forgot to tell you the difficulty, but that's the difficulty, by the way. So yeah, you're scanning around and you're not detecting anything that you haven't really seen before, but once you get that notice from Lieutenant Thadagia, as you start looking around, you do notice, if you look closely enough, on the ground you'll see little droplets of a dried lavender blood staining, which you know very well to be the blood color of a Klingon.
Okay. Follow the blood.
Okay. You keep following, keep your tricorder on it, you're following the trail through, and the droplets go back to the stasis pod room, but the majority of them seem to come from the control room where currently your other crew member are in, which is right here. So let's bring you back. So. And you find smears, like handprint smears, on the wall close to the body. But this seems to be the source of where the blood came from.
Which begs the question, how did this reddish alien manage to injure a Klingon? Is there any... I want to have a look around to see if I can find any of the weapons or anything that could have been used as a weapon to injure the Klingon.
Okay. Looking around for weapons. During that, you're not seeing any weapon, but give me your your reason. I think for you would be better, reason and security.
Complication 2?
Complication 3.
I can't use anything to my advantage. Okay.
Let me see, survival. No, this is going to be a difficulty 2 as well. Did you roll it? Was that it?
Yep.
Reason. Okay,
yep,
you got it. You're good. All right. Looking around, as you're looking, you see no weapons around here, but as you get closer, you see what looks like hair caught on one of the corners of a console. It looks like that the Klingon's head may have been smashed against the console that's near the body.
Okay. So from my reasoning is the Klingon starts to play with the controls, accidentally setting up the process for the aliens to start waking up. When one of them found him messing with the consoles, decided to smash his head against it, which resulted in him getting stabbed. Okay, which makes me worry about how dangerous these aliens may be and what the Klingons were trying to do. Can I find, oh yeah, if he smashed his face on a console, can I see which console it was? As in what it was used for, science, engineering?
The consoles are pretty indistinct, but Velik, with his knowledge, of what's going on, he can probably explain to you. But the gist of it is that it's basically just monitoring systems, and clearly they don't have any power going to them.
Okay. Well, I believe I've searched everywhere now, and I didn't find any Klingons lying around, so yeah, I'd say the ship's secure. That's my work done.
Okay. With the ship secure, that means the commanding officer for the time being will now be Lieutenant Commander Velik while you're on the mission here, since he's the highest ranking officer, unless a threat pops up, in which case you would resume your command. Okay. Now, very quick, I want to go back to the DeGrasse Tyson, if I may. May I? Does anyone care?
Go for it.
You care. I know you care. I know you all care. Let's see here. Hang on. Let me just get these tokens out of there. Okay. And paste. There we go. We'll do that there. And I need to find this picture. Nope. This picture. Okay, going back to the DeGrasse Tyson very quick. Nope, wrong one. Wrong. Sorry, gotta let you see what I'm saying here. All right, there you go. All right, Ensign, I don't even remember your name now. Ensign Lutant, that's right, Ensign Lutant. You have Awas back on the DeGrasse Tyson. Right now, you just have him in sick bay to make sure like everything's okay, just making sure he doesn't have any injuries and to help calm him down, as you would imagine. Let's see what that was. He's looking at you. And you're still having a chance to kind of help him relax, talk, and become at ease. Like the whole time since he's come aboard the ship, he's just staring at every inch of the vessel as he walks down, as if he's in a dream world. He doesn't seem to be able to comprehend the level of technology that he's seeing. And once he's in sick bay and sees all the computers and everything going, it's just astounding to him.
So, how are you feeling now?
I feel more relaxed. I think whatever medication your doctor friend gave me is helping me think clearly, but I still can't remember much.
Oh, well, I'm glad to hear that you're relaxed. It will make the anal probing go much quicker.
The what? Flip him over, you pin him down, just start shrieking. Okay.
I'm glad to hear that you're relaxed. Don't push yourself too hard to remember. It'll come in due time. For now, just know that you are in a safe place with people who wish to help.
Thank you very much, Lutant. Is it?
Yes, Lutant.
I appreciate it. Then the AMH calls out to the ensign, like, Ensign, could you come here for a moment, please?
Of course.
Walker.
Step aside.
Yes. Ensign, I've been scanning this man's brainwave functions, and I am seeing something very disturbing in the scans here.
What might that be?
He glances over at the alien Awas and then turns to make sure he has privacy. Like, perhaps we should step inside Dr. Ardon's office for a moment.
Of course.
Okay. as you step inside, doctor sitting there and just looking at pad, looking at computer. Like, yes, this is very, very odd indeed. Ensign, it appears as if, as I'm watching live, he's losing more of his memories.
How can that be possible?
Dr. Arden looks over at you like, I don't know. He doesn't show any signs of cranial trauma or any head injury, but like, looking at these scans, it just clearly he's experiencing like rapid and frequent memory loss.
Is there anything we can do to slow it?
Well, we're going to have to look into that. We don't know much about his species, but I think with a few scans, maybe more scans of his brainwaves, we might be able to come up with something, but it's going to take time.
Is there a chance that this could be happening to all of the other members, or that this could be a result of him waking from their stasis?
Yeah, perhaps he woke too early. Oh, that's a good idea, yeah. I guess we will not know unless we wake more of them up, or more of them wake up on their own.
Well, the opposite could be argued, I suppose, that waking them might trigger this memory loss. So I suppose we must make a difficult decision whether to try and keep them suspended, preventing it, or wake them quickly to prevent it. It really could be either way.
The EMH looks at you. You might be on to something, Ensign. All right. We'll get on the calculations here. Perhaps it would be best if you just reassured our patient that he is in no danger, and hopefully keeping him in a relaxed state will prevent any further disturbing memory loss.
I can do that. And I'll quickly update the bridge on the situation.
Very good. Very good, Ensign. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. And so I return to him, and on my way back, inform the bridge of what's going on.
Okay. You call to bridge what's going on. By the time you come out, he's already out of the bed, and he's just looking at the computer screens behind the console.
So is all of this new technology to you? Is it anything like what you remember your people having?
He looks away from the screen and spending 2 threat here. His eyes are wide. He stares at you like, "What are you?" He screams as he picks up a stool and he charges at you to attack.
Oh boy. I guess I just try and step aside.
Okay. It's going to be a posed roll here. It's going to be your daring and security.
Well, that's not very good.
Oh, don't worry. It's going to be against his daring and security as well. So again, the standard on two thingy, 2 difficulty. For you, I think for that. No way. For this, I think for this one, I think it's 1 difficulty. Complication range of 3. And you could still use momentum spends as well if you want.
Okay, well, I think, sorry, I don't have the character sheet up fully, so...
I apologize. It would be 2d20 as usual. Yeah. Unless you're buying more momentum, which I guess not.
No.
Okay, and...
I think in this situation, he has all the momentum.
Yeah, and in this case. Let's see, he got 13 and 7, you got 14 and a 9. Your thing, I gotta look at your character sheet, apologize, since it's not on there. I will have it on there later. Your thing, that was daring and security, so that's 8. So that's 2 failures.
Oh boy.
Yeah. His total was 10, so he got 1 success. So he is able to smash the chair onto you And with that, let me roll. It's not much of a damage thing, but let me just roll the damage on there. Okay, 2 points of stress down on her, but he also rolled a, excuse me, he also rolled an effect, which triggers the knockdown, so it knocks you onto your hindquarters. And you just see him standing up over top of you, looking down, wild-eyed, in a panic, and he screams like, "What are you doing to me?" And he picks up the chair as he's trying to smash it down on top of you. And then we go to commercial break.